name is Linda Caravaris, and welcome to my kitchen. And I'm going to talk about an important aspect of what I emphasize on all of my shows, which is mise en place, everything in its place. Now, mise en place is actually an entire system of organization and efficiency in the kitchen. And really that begins with the most important tools in your kitchen, and that is your knives. And your most important knife in the kitchen is what's called a chef's knife. And I'm going to talk to you today about how to properly choose a knife, what materials to look for, and most importantly, how to sharpen a knife on a tri-stone. And once you learn this method, you're going to see how easy it is, and you're always going to have nice sharp knives, which as far as for safety reasons, that's what you want, because you're more likely to cut yourself using a dull knife than a sharp one. And so I'm going to first begin by talking about the different types of knives that you want to use in your kitchen. And I just want to emphasize that you don't really need to go out there and buy an entire knife set. Those are going to include fillet knives, boning knives, and things like that you probably will never use in your kitchen. So let me go down the line and discuss each of the knives that you would want to use in the kitchen. Okay? The first is what's called a chef's knife. Now, chef's knife is usually 7 to 10 inches long, and you want to make sure you can, how it feels in your hand. You want to look for a good grip. And, I want to stop right there and explain that. You really need to go out and feel the knives and see how the knives feel in your hand. And you can do that at a number of kitchen stores, and there's even a knife store at, I believe it's the Providence Place Mall. So just want to give you some of that information. But I think, I just want to emphasize you need to pick up and handle the knife and see how it feels in your hand. And again, your most important knife in the kitchen will be your chef's knife. Now the next knife, which I use in my kitchen most of the time, and in place of a chef's knife, is the Santoukos. Now you see these all over the place now. And personally, this has become my favorite knife in the kitchen. And from now on, just to avoid confusion, I'll refer to this as a chef's knife, because this is really what I use in place of a chef's knife. And the only difference, the Santouko, as you can see, it's a pretty wide blade all the way down, but it has these divots in it, and this prevents the sticking of food when you're slicing and dicing. And that's really the big difference. The width of the blade and mainly these divots from a chef's knife. But certainly if you're more comfortable using a large knife like this is a great knife in the kitchen. All right. The next one is a paring knife, and that's used for small work, such as, apples, anything you want to hold in your hand and use with a paring knife. But, really for the most part, you're going to be using your chef's knife for most cutting, dicing, and slicing in the kitchen. And of course, you need a serrated knife, and that is so it doesn't break the crumb when you are cutting through bread products. You always need a serrated knife. And from what I'm told, you really can't sharpen these. So, and I don't think I've ever had a need to sharpen it. I mean, you're really only going to be slicing through bread products, bread and cake, with a serrated knife. And so pretty much that's all you need. A chef's knife or a Santouko, paring knife, and a serrated knife. So don't get sold down the line on purchasing an entire set of knives, because you will not need them. And now I want to talk about the steel. A misconception is it sharpens knives. This does not sharpen your knives. However, it keeps a sharp knife sharp longer. So again, you want to do this maybe you don't have to do it every time you use your knife. It would be a good idea, but you can use it every other time, and I'm going to show you how to use this, and it will keep that nice sharp edge longer so that you don't have to use the Tri-Stone as often. So let me put that down for now. And I just want to talk a little bit about the materials on knives. Years ago, it used to be the high carbon steel, but the problem with high carbon steel was that the knife would actually rust, and it would also discolor some of the food you were cutting, so like lettuce and things like that, and things with high acid. So they were very difficult to take care of, but they produced a really nice sharp edge. So that was the advantage of the high carbon steel. The stainless steel then came out, which didn't discolor food, and you didn't have the rust problem on the knife blade. However, it was extremely difficult to keep a nice sharp edge. So today, the new alloy is called high carbon stainless steel, and that's what you want to look for when you go out there to purchase a knife. And it will either be stamped on the blade, or it will say high carbon stainless on the package that you're purchasing. So that's what you want to look for. That way it combines both of the properties of the high carbon steel and your stainless steel, so you get a nice sharp edge, and it won't discolor your foods, and it won't rust. So with that, I'm going to explain what other things you want to look for in a knife. And let me start by picking up this chef's knife. This is what's called, you want to look for what's called a full tang. Now the tang is the part of the blade that goes into the handle. And I think you can see by looking at this what I mean by a full tang. See the way it goes all the way into the handle. Some knives, you'll notice, the less expensive ones will stop right about here. But this is what you want to look for. So let me turn that around for you. And so you get the idea. It goes all the way into the handle. The other thing you want to, again, how it feels in your hand. This is a little heavy for me, so this is why this has become my favorite knife in the kitchen, the Santoukos. And again, you see these all over the place now. These are the more popular knives. See them on food TV, and a lot of chefs using them. It's a nice lightweight knife. So, and the other thing you want to look for in a knife is a nice balance. When you hold it right there at where the handle meets the blade, you want to be able to balance it like that so it doesn't just flop over one side or the other. That's another thing you want to look for when you're choosing your chef's knife. Okay? So, with that, I'm going to show you next how to use a Tri-Stone. And again, once you see how easy it is to keep your blade sharp, you're going to love using your new Tri-Stone. Now, one thing I'd like to mention also about knives are when you go out and you select knives too, you don't need to spend a fortune on each of these knives. Just want to emphasize that. It's all going to be how it feels in your hand and what you like. The most important thing is choosing the high carbon stainless steel. Like for instance, what's turned out to be my favorite knife, this Santouko, is actually the least expensive, and I think I paid $20 for this. So just wanted to give you that kind of information. But you know, you can spend up to $100 or more for the knives. But again, I think that's just a good guide to go by. So anyway, we're going to talk now about sharpening your knives. So you're going to have nice sharp knives. So anything you do in the kitchen now, you're going to say, oh my goodness, how did I do without nice sharp knives? So this is what's called the Tri-Stone. And before I show you the Tri-Stone, I just want to discuss, you know, why I know they make hand sharpeners, the ones for the hand, and electric ones. Well, throughout all my training at Johnson & Wales and the chefs that I've met, everybody has learned how to use a Tri-Stone and prefers the Tri-Stone. Now, big commercial operations, of course, they're going to send out their knives for sharpening. But for the most part, you want to learn how to use a Tri-Stone. The problem with the electric ones are they wear away the edge much too quickly, and if you don't know how to use them and you go a little bit over, it will damage your knives. And again, all the chefs that I talk to at Johnson & Wales and that I know, they use a tri-stone and recommend a tri-stone. So for a one-time investment, and this one is a nice small one, cost me $100. You're going to have this for the lifetime of your knives. And it's got a nice little cover on it, and it's going to be, I'm going to show you how to use it. So let's remove the cover. And tri-stone 3, you're going to have your coarse side, okay, and then we've got medium and then fine. So you start with the coarse side, and it's just like, I guess you can think about it like if you're sandpapering something, stripping something to paint. You're going to start with your coarsest sandpaper, and then the next finer grade, and then the finest after that. So if you think of it like that, that's what we're doing here today with sharpening our knives. Now, this came with the tri-stone, and it's oil, but you know what? When you run out of this, or when you need some more of this, you can go down to your local hardware store, and you can buy this honing oil. Okay, so they'll have that there. You just start by putting a little bit on the coarse side, okay? I'm rubbing that in with my fingers. That's all you need to do. And let me grab a paper towel. Okay. And I'm going to take my Santoku knife and show you how to do it. Light, even strokes. Hold it like this on one side. Gentle pressure with the fingers on the other. Okay? And we're going to do 10 strokes each side, starting with the coarse side of the tri-stone. So here we go. And keep it at a 20 to 30 degree angle. And in fact, this tri-stone came with a little angle thing that you put in the back to kind of guide you when you're first doing this. But you know what? I think most of us know 20 or 30 degree angle. So, here you go. Just hold it slightly. And then here we go with the first stroke. Start from the heel of the blade to the tip. And I'm going to go slow to show you how to do this. So here we go. 1, you want to get the whole blade, and we'll do each side first. 2, 3, just run it across. 4, 5, from heel to tip. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, light pressure. Then what I do, I turn it over and do 10 more strokes this side. Okay? Now, can you do one stroke one side and then one the other, turn it over? Yes, you can do that. There are different methods. But the main thing is here, you want to just make sure that you're holding it at that slight angle, because naturally if you hold it too much, it will dull the blade, and if not enough of an angle, and it's not going to do anything. So that's it. That's our 10 strokes on that side. Now we turn to the medium. And again, a little bit of oil. That's it. Rub it on. And again, you got a couple knives, you do all this at once. And I'm going to say I do this maybe once every month or two. And of course, it depends on how much you cook and how frequently and that sort of thing. But again, 20 degree angle, light pressure over here. I'm holding the blade down here. Again, heel to tip. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it over. 3. 10. Okay, done. Now, let's see, where are we? Fine. There we go. And again, after a while, you know what? You turn the tri-stone like this so you get the other part of the stone. So you're not always wearing it one way. So I just thought I'd point that out. There we go. Fine side, and we're going to be done after this. Again, 10 strokes. 7 to 10. You don't want to over sharpen either. Okay, so, and I'm not counting anymore, but I'm going to say that's about 10. And then the same amount on the other side. 3. And again, gentle pressure. I keep emphasizing this, but it's important. And you're done. How do you like that? Nice, sharp knife. And I just wipe the blade like this, put that aside, and then I'm going to wash this blade, and I'll show you how nice nicely this is going to cut these vegetables now. And all I do is I go like this, and just all you need to do is just dab it. That's fine, because that's not going to go rancid. And just put this away. You can either leave this up in your kitchen, or what I do, I just put it out of the way and I put it down on the workbench in the cellar until the next time I'm ready to use it. So let me wash this knife, and then I'm going to show you how to use this steel after we cut one of the vegetables, and we'll go on from there. So I'll be right back. I've sharpened what I consider my chef's knife, so let me put that aside for right now. And just want to demonstrate, like, mainly, you know, your chef's knife is going to be the most versatile and most used tool in your kitchen. So this is pretty much good for any kind of work except for small work, and I just want to put that aside for right now and just demonstrate, you know, when would you need a paring knife? Something small like this when you're going to peel an apple, anything small. See, where you're going to actually hold the item in your hand and turn it. Any kind of small work with a paring knife, but I wouldn't say I use my paring knife all that much. I probably mainly use my chef's knife. But see what I mean? Just something where you'd actually turn it in the hand, and where the chef's knife really wouldn't be of any use with that. It would be too big. But for the most part, this is going to be your main tool in the kitchen. That's why it's most important to keep that sharp all the time. So let me just put this aside. Put my apple over here. Now I've got a nice sharp knife, okay? So here we go. Just want to demonstrate. There's my pepper, and here we go. If you think of the pepper in quadrants, write down. I'll take quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3, and 4, and then there we go. Okay, this side. And let me show you, you cut the pepper from the inside. Fingers curled under, and again, I will take this time to refresh how to properly hold the knife. Thumb, 4 fingers on this side, nice grip. The rest of your fingers grip the handle. Most control using this grip. Again, cutting inside the pepper. See how nice and sharp that is? Okay. Now let me turn. So we're going to do a dice. And you know, when you learn how to properly use a chef's knife, you're not going to need any of these fancy choppers and slicers. And actually, it takes less time when you learn how to properly use your knife. Because a lot of those machines and that equipment, you've got at least 2 or 3 parts to clean. You've got to assemble it. You've got to take it apart. You learn how to use your knife properly, and you're all set. And you keep them nice and sharp, right? And I know you're going to do that now, because I showed you how with the dry stone. Now, here's something that drives me crazy when I see it on TV, and it's going to dull your knives if you continue to do this. And not only that, it's a safety thing for me. I see people do this all the time. They take their sharp knife and go like this. Now, see, your hand's coming across the blade like that. Plus, it's dulling your knife blade. What I find is safer, use the back of the knife. Now, maybe it's not going to give you that real, sharp edge. It won't get right down there, but it'll be, believe me, just as effective. Look at that. And you pick up your chopped ingredients and move it, and you're not dulling your knife, and you're not going to injure yourself doing it that way. So promise me from now on, you will not do this. You're going to do this, and I'll be very happy. Okay? So let me just put that aside on my board and pull off one of my tomatoes. These are the type of tomatoes I get this time of the year. I can't wait for the nice fresh garden tomatoes to come out. So this is a decent substitute for this time of the year, or before you can get your nice fresh garden tomatoes. So take that out. Then my little gadget I showed you on another episode, my tomato corer. And here I'll just Stick that in. It's got little spikes. Stick it in the top. Turn it just like that, and out comes your core. Very little waste. And then what we'll do, I'll just slice this tomato. Look at that. And again, straight down. Nice, sharp knife. Don't even need this serrated. And again, let's put that thumb in and fingers, and there you go. Some nice tomato slices. Now we're done with using our knife. So I'm going to show you how you can use the steel. And again, this will keep your knife sharp longer, okay? So you won't have to sharpen it each time. And if you do this each time you use your knife, or every other time, you don't have to do it each time. And again, it's going to depend on how often you use it. You won't need to sharpen your knives as much. And you'll get a feel for this too. Same thing as what we did on the Tri-Stone, 20-degree angle, maybe 5 to 10 strokes per side, and that's it. You can go like this, and then turn the knife, and down again, heel to tip, and turn it to the other side, and there we go. Or you can go all your strokes on one side of the steel, 5, and then on the other, if you still, if you can hold it in an angle like that. So either method, and what you're doing is you're taking off the burrs that occur when you do your slicing and dicing. That's all you're doing, and then you'll have a nice sharp knife for the next time you pick it up. So let me put that steel aside and put my knife aside. Let me clean up here, and I'm going to give you a few more of my kitchen tips, okay, now that you've learned how to properly sharpen a knife. And any more questions on this, or how to choose a knife, or where to purchase, anything like that, please contact me through my web address at www.lindas-kitchen.com. I'd be happy to help you with any of this. So let me clean up, and I'll give you a few more tips. Here's something I started doing a few years ago. You look at a recipe in the newspaper, and it's tiny, it's like that, you clip it out, and what happens, you either lose it or you're going like this when you're looking at it at the counter, and I know you baby boomers know what I'm talking about out there. So what I started doing a few years ago was, with my computer, I take the recipe, as soon as I get it, I clip it out, and the nice thing is you can I put it in like size 14 or 16 font. And for people out there that have vision problems, I just think this is a great way to put your recipes in an easily readable form. So I print it out on 8.5 by 11, and you can either 3-hole punch it, keep it in a 3-ring binder, or I tend to separate mine sometimes with folders that I keep in my hutch. But anyway, so you have a nice, easily readable recipe. And then the other thing that I started doing, instead of taking up, my counter space, and especially if you're limited on counter space, what I do with this is I end up taking a clip like this, which, I don't know, I guess you can get these at CVS. They're a magnetized clip, and or any craft store probably. I put it on my recipe, and then I just come over here, I assemble my ingredients, I put everything together, and then I can just check it off on this. But I just find this so much easier than doing this, or, and it's right at eye level, and again, the larger font, it works out perfect, and these magnetic clips, get a few of those. But thought I'd give you that little tip. The other thing, one of my friends got this for me, and I don't know where she received it, but I suppose a bookstore may have these, or even a kitchen supply place. But I'll do a little bit of research on this. If you really would like one of these, I will find out where she got it. But look at this. This is to protect your cookbooks, and you can put in any size, pretty much any size cookbook, because it's adjustable. So I'll show you how that works. So I have my cookbook here, and I'll tell you another thing. It keeps it standing up so nicely. Move it like this. Put it in the front. It protects it from splashes and everything else. And again, this is adjustable. You can adjust the back of this 3 different slots. And look at that. Is that nice or what? I love this. This is one of my favorite gifts of all times. And again, you have to put it on the counter, yeah, but then, you just can easily read it, and it holds the book up nice and straight and protects it from fingerprints and splashes and things like that. So, try to find one of these if you're using a lot of cookbooks. And again, it's so great because it's adjustable. So let me put this aside. And last but not least, I've been dying to tell you about the #1 culinary reference guide in the country that's been an invaluable asset to myself being a foodie, and of course is used in the industry by any culinary professional. And it is called The Food Lover's Companion. Now, again, this is the #1 best-selling culinary reference guide in the country. One of the best things, again, the pan substitutions, the meat cuts, the terminology, but I love in the back this appendix, and it's consumer information sources, and you've got all kinds of organizations, their websites and phone numbers, like from anything from alligator to artichokes to one of my favorites in here, chocolate, grapes, figs, kiwi fruit, nutrition. I mean, you name it. There it is in the appendix in the back of the book. So, again, I strongly recommend foodies out there or any home cook, pick this reference guide up. You won't go wrong, and you'll find lots of fun information in the book. And again, you hear a cooking term, or you hear about a new utensil or something you see on food TV, look it up in this guide. Products, fruits, vegetables, anything. So I know you're going to love this. Well, I hope today's show has helped increase your knowledge in the selection and maintenance of knives and their importance in the kitchen. And my other tips have helped you with your mise en place. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Linda's Kitchen.